Do you think homelessness is just a problem for a small, struggling group in society? Think again. Imagine a 13-year-old child, abandoned, left to fend for themselves on the streets. A young father, his hands trembling, desperately pulling a thin tarp over a torn tent to shield his pregnant wife from the brutal Chicago winter. A veteran, once a defender of the nation, now sleeping on the cold pavement, hungry, forgotten, waiting for help that never arrives. This isn't a scene from a dystopian movie. This is the harsh reality unfolding every day in the heart of Chicago, a city once seen as a beacon of opportunity and a gateway to the American dream. The glimmering lights of Michigan Avenue can't hide the truth. Thousands of people are being forced onto the streets, left without shelter, without hope for tomorrow. So, what happened? Is Chicago still a city of promise, or has it become a place where society's most vulnerable are left to vanish, unseen and unheard? The truth may shock you. Today, we're diving deep into the homelessness crisis in Chicago, uncovering the realities the mainstream media won't tell you. The shocking scene at O'Hare Airport. Chicago, the third largest city in the U.S., is known for its fast-paced lifestyle and economic power. When people think of Chicago, they picture O'Hare International Airport, one of the busiest airports in the world. But step inside today, and what you see might leave you speechless. Instead of hurried business travelers and excited tourists, the airport is now home to a growing number of homeless people, curled up on the floors, trying to find warmth in the terminal's artificial light. One of them, a man seeking refuge at Gate 2, was diagnosed with a serious lung condition. Without money for surgery, his condition worsened, leading to pneumonia. Only recently, after qualifying for disability benefits, has he found hope for treatment. But for so many others, help never comes. Sleeping in the streets, the story of Robert. Robert has been homeless for 2 years. It's not for lack of trying. He's sought out shelters, but the facilities are overflowing. Without a bed, his only option is to sleep on the cold floor. So, he chooses an alleyway behind a Dunkin' Donuts, wrapping himself in a thin blanket and waiting for dawn. His only company? The giant city rats that scurry through the night. Despite these struggles, Robert refuses to give up. He's applied for jobs with the White Sox and the Cubs, hoping for a second chance. But the calls never come. No job means no money. No money means no home. His dreams are simple. A safe place to sleep, food to eat, and maybe, just maybe, a few friends to call his own. But Robert's story is not unique. This is a crisis affecting thousands. Is Chicago turning into a real-life ghost town, where the system has failed its most vulnerable? One mistake away from losing everything. Gary's fall into homelessness. Many people believe that homelessness only happens to those who made bad decisions. But what if it only took one misstep to lose everything? Gary was once just like anyone else. He had a job, a home, a relationship. But a series of unpaid fines in DuPage County led to his downfall. After serving time, he was released with nothing. No savings, no family, nowhere to go. He scraped together enough money to rent a small room for $140 a week, hoping it would be the start of a new chapter. Then, his girlfriend left him. She took everything. Desperate, he turned to Pacific Garden Mission, a homeless shelter. But even there, things took a turn for the worse. The shelter required his belongings to be treated for pests, and the next morning, his backpack was gone. Inside? His phone, his last bit of money, and his only form of identification. Losing ID as a homeless person is a devastating blow. Without it, you can't access government buildings, social services, apply for jobs, open a bank account, or even receive food stamps. Yet, despite everything, Gary clings to hope, believing that one day he'll escape the streets. The heartbreaking reality of homeless children. Now, imagine this. A child carrying a backpack to school like any other student, but when the final bell rings, they have nowhere to go. Their bed is a thin mattress on a crowded shelter floor. Dinner? A cup of instant noodles eaten on a street corner. A shower? Maybe at a gas station sink, if they're lucky. Take Dion, a 12-year-old boy who became homeless after his mother lost their home. He moved in with his grandmother just to continue his education. But enrolling in school required paperwork, documents that a homeless child simply doesn't have. Dion is just one of thousands of students in Chicago experiencing this reality. Schools offer shower and laundry services for homeless students, but these efforts barely scratch the surface of the crisis. Meanwhile, America boasts about economic growth and prosperity. But do these children sleeping on sidewalks feel like they're part of a better future? A 7-year-old's mission to help. But not every story is filled with despair. Jonathan Slack, a 7-year-old boy, saw a homeless woman on the streets of Chicago and couldn't shake the image from his mind. That night, he asked his mother, "Can we go back to Chicago to give her the $6 I have in my pocket?" Realizing he needed to do more, Jonathan started a community campaign. In just 10 days, he gathered 4 truckloads of supplies, food, clothing, and toys, to help those in need. If a 7-year-old can change lives, why can't we? The price of poverty in Chicago. Many assume Chicago is an affordable city, but for low-income workers, the cost of living is suffocating. A 1-bedroom apartment? $1,800 a month, unattainable for many. A simple meal at a cheap restaurant? $12 to $20, a luxury for those struggling. Public transportation? $2.50 per ride, but even commuting to work is a challenge when housing is far from the city center. When rent is sky-high and wages remain stagnant, many people find themselves one crisis away from losing everything. Homeless veterans, forgotten heroes. Thousands of veterans who once defended this country now sleep on the streets. Government benefits fall short, medical costs rise, and rent prices soar, leaving many to fend for themselves. A nation that spends billions on defense lets its heroes go hungry. Where is the justice in that? Conclusion: the future of Chicago. The streets are crowded, the skyscrapers shine, but beneath the surface, a crisis is unfolding. Tent cities in parks, children sleeping in subway cars, entire families struggling to stay warm in the bitter cold. This is the reality of homelessness in Chicago. Is the city on the brink of collapse? Or is there still a chance to rebuild and offer hope to those who need it most? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. And if you believe this issue deserves attention, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to support our channel. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.